Manifestation should not be a complicated task. The thing that makes it complicated is the doubts, the fears that we're not going to have something, the fears that we don't have something, the feeling that we don't have something internally. But really, it's about simply knowing the law of asking and receiving. As it says in the Bible, as man thinketh in his heart, so is he. It also says in the Bible, ask and ye shall receive. But that is such a powerful statement, because what is the difference between people who manifest things and people who don't manifest things? People who end up living the life of their dreams and people who don't live the life of their dreams. It's the fact that the people who live the life of their dreams, they simply know that they are going down that road. They know that they're going to attain what they want. They know that they have what they want right now. It's not even about just belief. It's because belief can sometimes, you can believe in something, but it doesn't always work out. You need a very strong belief, is what I'm trying to say. And what is a very strong belief? A strong belief is to know that something is yours. It's to know that what you want is going to happen. But see, and there's so many signs that you can listen to that tell you that you don't know. If you're fighting desperately for something, if you feel like you're lacking something, if you feel like it's a struggle to attain the things that you want, then it's forever going to be a struggle to attain the things that you want. You need to convince yourself that it's going to be easy to attain the things that you want. But more so than that, you just simply need to know that you're going to attain something. Because it doesn't necessarily matter about the how you're going to get there. But you need to go into like a deep meditation and ask yourself, do I feel like I am the person that I want to be? Do I know that I'm going to have these things? Even if it hasn't appeared in the physical world, do I feel like I have these things internally? That's the questions that you need to be asking. Whenever you find the answers to these questions, if you know that you have the thing that you want to have, then everything begins to work. Everything just starts working. Everything. Whenever you can actually convince yourself that you have the things that you want. You gotta understand the way that the subconscious works, it is impressed upon. So what does this mean? From a young age, the brain is told that it's this thing, or it's this thing, or it's that thing, or it's that thing. And you know what really matters in this whole process? Not even necessarily what your parents do or what the people around you do. Sure, that matters a lot. But what really matters is your reaction to those things. How have you been reacting to these things your entire life? And if something goes wrong, a question that you need to ask yourself is, how do I feel at the end of the day about it? Because if you still feel conviction, and if you still know that you're going to live the life that you want, then you're good. But if something happens and you simply just like crumble and fall and you crash out, you just can't live that way. You need to actually know with trust. So let's go into that. What does trust look like? And why do people struggle with trust? The reason people struggle with trust is because they haven't practiced trusting enough. They haven't practiced faith enough. But that's simply all that you need to do. You need to practice faith. And you need to practice the manifestation muscle. And you need to practice the ability to be able to just, when you say that you're going to do something, you do it. Okay? So that's a good way to formulate trust and build up trust within yourself, is, for one, the realization that manifestation is as easy as raising your right arm. Simply as easy as that. Because in the eyes of the infinite, in the eyes of the all, in the eyes of God, it's infinite. So there is no more or less or better or worse or harder or easier. It doesn't exist. In terms of infinite, everything is the same pretty much. Things are different, sure, but within the scale of infinity, everything is of the same relative value. So manifesting something should be as easy as raising your right arm. So where I'm going with that is that you need to practice what you tell yourself that you're going to do. That's how you formulate trust within yourself. When you say that you're going to do something, do it. And throughout the process of you doing it, don't think about how you're going to do it. Just do it. Just simply do it. Let go of how it happens. Because you got to understand, whenever you have a clear mind, when the mind is clear, that is whenever you're most abundant. That is whenever you're most magnetic. When the mind is clear. Just remember this. Remember what I'm saying. Write it down. When you have a clear mind, you realize that the ups and downs of life simply do not matter anymore. Because you have a clear mind. You know, there's this great quote. It says, when you know that you're the ocean, you're not afraid of the waves. And that is symbolic of having a clear mind, because whenever you're in the flow state, whenever you're able to just work on something and clear everything out, there's still those like doubts in the back of your mind, but what are you doing? You're not giving energy to those doubts. You're not giving energy to the things that worry you. You're not giving energy to the fears. You're not giving energy to the doubts, the worries, the concerns, the negative emotions. And whenever you don't have any energy being put towards these things, you're not going to experience these things, because you're like a conductor of energy. Your mental field is like a garden, and the thoughts that you water is what you're going to reap. That's what you're going to, you reap what you sow, and what you sow is what you care for. So you need to start practicing to simply ignore the negative frequency. Simply ignore the negative thought patterns that continuously pop up in your head. And if you can't ignore them, literally override them. Override them with confidence. Override them with conviction. I know I'm going to attain that. I don't need to be worried about that anymore. And the most powerful thing that you can always say is, I accept that this thing has been a part of me, but I don't need to live by it anymore. And simple as that. Just say that. You don't need to worry about it. You don't need to think about it. Because the more that you worry and think about things, the more energy that you're going to give to it. But whenever you transmute something and truly transmute something, you just look at it and you change your perspective towards it. It's not complicated. It's not difficult. I mean, sometimes it takes time, sure. But really, it's done in peace. It's not done in a fight. It's not done in worry. Whenever you're transmuting these doubts, when you're transmuting these fears, it's not transmuted in fear or worry. It's transmuted in trust. It's transmuted, I know that I'm going to get around this thing. Simple as that. I know that I'm going to get around this thing. Whatever the problem is, you look at it and say, I'm going to transmute this to work for me. What does that do? That aligns the subconscious with finding every single possible way to transmute it to work for you. So therefore, you're going to transmute it to work for you. Because mental declaration always leads to physical creation. Whenever you make a mental declaration from a place of trust and confidence and peace, you're making a true mental declaration. Because like I said earlier, when the mind is still, it becomes the ocean. It's not concerned with the waves. And also, when the mind is still, the subconscious is impressionable, because you don't have all of these other thoughts that muddy the waters. When the mind is still and you can just have one simple goal on your mind, and you tell yourself, I know that I have this. I know that I'm going to get it. I know that I have it right now. I am that person right now. That is whenever everything changes. Because there's nothing there blocking the impression. Everything is an impression upon the subconscious, and whenever you impress the subconscious with whatever emotion, that's going to be the outcome. That's going to be the outcome of your life. You need to know that you're going to have it. You need to claim it. You need to, to do it, to actually do the actions. But most of all, you need to be the person that you want to be. From a place of detachment, from a place of trust, from a place of relaxation. Because what does relaxation tell the subconscious? Relaxation tells the subconscious that you have everything right now, and you don't need to worry about all of these things. You just simply don't. You have it right now whenever you're relaxed, whenever you're detached. I guarantee you've never manifested something whenever you were stressed out and worried and anxious and depressed and all of these negative emotions. You've never manifested something from that state. I guarantee you, the best things that have ever happened in your life is whenever you're relaxed, you let go, you stop worrying about what's going to happen, because things just take place. I was working with one of my customers, and I told them to simply do the surrender experiment, where you just stop thinking about your desire. You stop thinking about it. Just stop. Like, get it out. And then along with that, act from a place of literal surrender, where you just trust. You just trust. Not surrender as in, I'm going to give up. Surrender as in, I'm going to do all of the tasks necessary, but I'm not going to worry about the outcome. Surrender as in, I'm going to do everything that needs to be done, and what happens, happens. You need to be in that state of mind constantly. You always got to be thinking, I'm going to perform as if I'm going to achieve all of my goals by next week, but I'm not going to care whenever that doesn't happen. You just don't care when it happens. You just know that you have it. You're just acting like the person right now who already has those things. That's really what it's all about. And that's what detachment is. Detachment is just releasing the obsession. Whenever you obsess over something, you can't have it. You can't obtain what you obsess over, because obsession is the same as rejection. Obsession is literally the same vibration as rejection. And sure, there's a little bit degree in vibration that they differ, but the thing is about obsession is whenever you obsess over something, internally, you're yearning for it. You're desperate for it. Internally, you feel like you don't have it, in essence. When you obsess over something, you feel like you don't have it. When you're desperate over something, you feel like you don't have it. Obsession creates such a barrier between you and your desire, because obsession is the frequency of, I need this in order to be happy. It's like in a relationship, and I'm sure every single one of you has been there before, whenever you really like someone, you just can never say the right thing around that person. You can't get them to like you back because you're obsessed with them. And the energy dynamic there is, you're trying to take something away from them. And it's basically trying to take something, and you can extrapolate this to money, to your business, to whatever it may be. It doesn't matter. But what it looks like is you're trying to take something from that energetic being, because whatever you're trying to take, it fills the insatiable void within you. But see, the thing is, even if you did attain that thing, you're never going to fill that void. You need to fill it from within first. You can't, and see, if you do get that thing, then you're getting it from ego. You're getting it from control. You're getting it from literally like forcing everything to work for you. But remember, everything crumbles when the ego manifests it. If you manifest something from the ego, it's going to crumble. It's not going to last. You need to manifest from the heart. And what does that look like? It means that you genuinely trust that it's yours. Genuinely trust that it's yours. And so look at this in terms of money, because this is just a really good example. The people that need the most money have the least of it, and the people that have the most money need the least of it. And that's for a reason. It's because whenever you're detached from something, you don't need something anymore. You get it in abundance. You get it in abundance. Whatever you don't need, you get it in abundance. Remember that. Whatever you don't need, you get it in abundance. And that's why I told my client the surrender experiment. You need to surrender. Just stop worrying about it. Stop worrying about how it's going to come. Stop worrying about when it's going to come. And literally just be okay without it. But now see, let's get into the point where we talk about emotional narratives though. And these are things that play in the back of your mind that you sometimes don't even realize that are there. Emotional narratives are associations between your subconscious and your desired reality. So if you have the emotional narrative that money is impossible to come by, then it's going to be impossible to come by. And sometimes that plays invisibly in the back of your head, and you don't even recognize that it's playing. You don't even recognize that that emotional narrative is there. You could also have an emotional narrative towards relationships where relationships are like this. Relationships are bad. Relationships are wrong. Or you have the emotional narrative where you need to change yourself in order to attain love or attain something that you want. But see, like, the problem there is that if you ever need to change yourself, from an egoic way, not from the heart's way, if you ever need to change yourself to please others, then you're going to attract someone who needs to be, basically, they need to be validated. Because whenever someone feels like they have the emotional narrative that I need to change myself in order for someone to love me, they're going to attract someone who needs validation, who's very emotionally unavailable. And that's because it's the push and pull dynamic. The person who is emotionally unavailable, and that's the same person that needs emotional validation, they're going to be attracted and they're just going to manifest someone who steps outside of their character to validate another person, or steps outside of their authentic self. They change themselves to make another person feel better. And so this is what is called egoic manifestation. But egoic manifestation, whenever you don't trust yourself, whenever you don't trust that things are working for you, it's always going to collapse. You can't manifest from the ego. You need to manifest from the heart. Manifesting from the heart is incredibly so much easier than manifesting from the ego. Manifesting from the heart is like, you just trust that it's yours. It's like, it's not even that complicated. You just trust. That's why the surrender experiment is so powerful, because you stop worrying, you stop being fearful, you stop wondering about when it's going to come, you stop overthinking, you stop doing this, you stop doing that, and you just trust. You just act from the heart. And then you'll be surrounded by the right people, and you'll push away those who aren't meant for you. And that's ultimately what you want. You want to be the person that's living from your truest self, that's living from your most authentic self. You don't want to manifest from ego, is what I'm saying. Basically, if you feel like you need to change yourself, extrapolate the example to money. If you feel like you need to change yourself for money, then it's coming from a place of lack. The thing is, you need to realize you don't need to change yourself. You need to forgive yourself. You need to realize that every single thing about you is perfect. And then you just begin to trust that you have it. Okay? And then you manifest from the heart. That is how you create a sustained manifestation. A manifestation that actually lasts. It doesn't just crumble. Because if you need to control and force and manipulate and make things work for you, then the universe is working against you. Because on a physical level, you're controlling. On a physical level, you're forcing. But on an internal level, you're so scared. You're full of fear that it's not going to work out. You're full of shame that you don't have it, that you're not good enough. But you need to realize that you are good enough right now. So a good exercise to fix all these is simply a revision exercise, where you go back to the past when the emotional narrative was the most strong. Whenever you learn that money is impossible to come by, whenever you learn that you can't make a lot of money, you're just poor in essence. It's hard for you to do that. You go back to that point in time where you felt a strong emotional sensation that was reminiscent of lacking in wealth, lacking in abundance, lacking in love, whatever it is, and you revise the script, you change the narrative. And whenever you take that emotional experience and you revise it to work out in exactly the way that you wanted it to, You change your emotional association towards that person, place, thing, idea, business, goal, desired reality. You change the emotional narrative towards it, and that's what you need to do. You can manifest anything. You just need to have the right emotional narrative towards it. You need to be the person that makes it happen. So what's your emotional narrative? What's your emotional pattern that you keep falling into over and over again? Go back to the time whenever you felt that the most strongly, the feeling that you experienced most strongly, because I know dang well that the feelings that you have, they're cyclical. I don't know any of you personally. Maybe some of you I do. But the feeling that you consistently feel over and over again, that's what you need to change, and that's what you need to revise, and that's what you need to change the story of. You need to go back in time and change exactly what happened. And whenever you do that, you create a new emotional experience towards it. Whenever back in the days, whenever you weren't selling, whenever you couldn't get a sale done, and that basically constructed the narrative that making money is hard. Or the days whenever getting a job was really hard, or you can't get a job right now, and you have the emotional narrative that getting a job is super hard and you can't do it. You need to go back to all of those times where you felt a strong emotional sensation that was resemblant of the lack that you feel, and then rewrite the story to where it worked for you. And feel the emotions of it working for you. There's a lot of ways that you can practice this revision exercise. If you feel traumatized about any certain thing, you can imagine yourself as an adult version coming back down and protecting your inner child or protecting you as a kid. Or you can, just change the script to where it played out how you wanted it to. Or the person in that narrative or the person in that memory did exactly what you asked. You expressed your feelings and they reciprocated it, whatever it may be. It's all about the narrative that's playing out in your brain. You can change anything. It's just about being the person who's capable of changing it. And that's where you practice trust. Practice trust. Practice emotional conviction that you will attain what you want. Simple as that. It really can't be any more simple than that. Manifestation isn't hard. Manifestation is easy. It's truly easy. Just ask and you shall receive. And then the moment that you ask, you set down a domino effect where you will receive every single thing necessary to get you to where you need to be. You will be forced, potentially if you need to look back at the past and see, where's the blocker? Why am I blocked from attaining the reality that I desire? Because when you trust something, all of the dominoes will be knocked down to make whatever you trust in, to make it happen. Everything is working in your favor. Remember that. That's all you need to know. It's truly easy. Truly easy. It's not complicated. But anyway, hope this helps.